last summer with Senator Alan Specter, and I'm wondering if any of that passion has changed in the last 6 weeks or so since we last spoke. Or are you still passionate about issues?
Well, I have to tell you, when the bill went through, I really was distressed, upset, really aggravated at what this administration had done. You can see Obama and everybody else's arrogance and Nancy Pelosi when they signed this into law. It's ridiculous. But in regards to my passion, it's still there. Actually, I'm a little more fired up right now and trying to convert that into different venues.
Do you consider yourself part of the Tea Party movement?
Yes, but first and foremost, I consider myself a conservative before I'm part of the movement. But in general, I would say yes.
Do you think Washington is listening to you? Not whether or not they agree with you, but whether they're actually listening and considering things that you and people who think like you have to offer?
Well, I think they're not only not listening, they're also trying to antagonize people, it seems like. The show of Nancy Pelosi walking across the lawn over to Congress was to show that in itself, to see her walking with that giant gap between all those people, it was like they were looking for something to happen. And I think that it's just not right what they're doing right now. They're trying to antagonize the people in this country.
How about your friends? Are your friends feeling about the same as you are? Are they softened down a little bit or got smarter? Or you get into arguments with them? How do your friends feel about this?
I have maybe one or two friends that are excited about it. But most of my friends are worried about the future. They're definitely worried about the future. With all the things that are going on in this bill, Nancy Pelosi said, we'll find out what's in the bill once it's passed into law. I would never buy a car without test driving and making sure I have the insurance and looking at the Now, I live in this country.
Do you intend to be politically active between now and November, or are you just going to go back to your life? What's your future?
No, I absolutely am going to be politically active. I'm helping out on a campaign for Colonel Frank Bryan in our congressional district in Pennsylvania, and I'm also going around the country speaking to different groups and trying to endorse different people that are good people that want to get this country back on the right track.
And Dana Brown went to town halls, and she's also a Tea Party organizer. Earlier, she went on the record. Nice to see you. Hi, Dana. When I think of you in the Tea Party and your enthusiasm for in the Middle West, I'm wondering, are you still as enthusiastically embracing the Tea Party movement or not? Did you get a little bit disinterested in it?
No, not at all. I am still just as enthusiastic and determined as ever to make sure that we at some point return to limited government and restore a little bit more of individual liberty back to people, and that we get our Congress to listen to the will of the people, which they did not demonstrate when this latest bit of legislation passed.
All right, when you say the will of the people, all right, so you say the will of the people, what part of the will of the people is Washington not listening?
Well, I understand that the president was elected. One of the things that he was concerned about was healthcare reform, and I was one of those people who thought absolutely reform was absolutely cost control measures are absolutely needed. But it's interesting because he broke a handful of promises, but this is one of the promises that he said was key. I was upset because I felt as though as we learned more and more about the policies, about the plans that were included in this legislation, and not just with healthcare, but with cap and trade, with the financial reform, with the educational reform, we started seeing how damaging this was to individual liberty, how damaging some of these policies were to the economy. We began feeling what the effects of that on our economy after the stimulus failed. And the majority of the people, and poll after poll after poll, they said this in the polling data, they said this at the town hall, they said this to their elected representatives when the representatives went on recess. They said they wanted things done differently. They did not want healthcare reform approached in this manner. They wanted to see different cost-cutting measures implemented in this. And Congress completely ignored them. And they were brave enough to sign the bill, but then they were completely shocked after the fact that all of these people who have been going to town hall since spring, that they were upset that this legislation had been enacted without their consent, basically.
I have like 30 seconds left. Are you saying that the government has been dismissive of your views and not listening to you? They may not agree with you, the leaders, but are they dismissive?
Absolutely. Here in Missouri, the majority of Missourians in several polls showed that they disapproved of how Congress is handling this legislation, and they disapproved of that which was in this bill. And they also wanted everything to be broadcast, and they didn't want all of this stuff going behind closed doors. And yet we had a senator from this state. We also had a representative from this state that were both a rubber stamp and completely supportive of everything that was coming down the pipe from this administration, despite what their constituents were saying. And we saw this replayed out not just in Missouri, but in all the other states across the union. So I thought they were incredibly dismissive, and they ignored the bill.
Next, Senator Mary Landrieu goes on the record about the so-called Louisiana Purchase. Is Senator Landrieu making a backroom deal for her vote, or is she getting unjustly hammered? Find out minutes from now. And then the Tea Party Express hits the road again. Some people are fired up about health care, and you are going to be part of the action with former Governor Sarah Palin. Stay right here.
When you buy a car, what are you really buying? A shiny coat of paint? A list of features? What about the strength of the steel? The integrity of its design? Or how it responds in extreme situations? The deeper you look, the more you see the real differences. And the more you understand what it means to own a Mercedes-Benz. The C-Class. The engineering of Mercedes-Benz. Starting at $33,600.
Thanks to the new pension card from Capital One, we get double miles on every purchase. So we earn the ski trip twice as fast. We get double miles every time we use our card. What's like this? Double miles add up quick. And 4 of those, so we brought the whole gang. It's hard to beat double miles. Everyone knows 2 is better than 1. Introducing the pension card from Capital One. Get double miles on every purchase every day. Go to CapitalOne.com. What's in your wallet?
In the oil industry, to see nuclear fishing markets in Japan, marine legislation in the U.S., and food consumption in Italy. At T.O. Price, we understand the connections of a complex global economy. It's just one reason over 75% of our mutual funds are T.O. Price. Invest with confidence. Because the prospectus or simple prospectus authorizes objectives, risks, fees, expenses, and other information we need to consider carefully before investing. It doesn't take much. An everyday moment can turn romantic at a moment's notice. And when it does, men with erectile dysfunction can be more confident in their ability to be ready with Cialis. With 2 clinically proven dosing options, you can choose the moment that's right for you and your partner. 36-hour Cialis and Cialis for daily use. Cialis for daily use is a low-dose tablet you take every day, so you can be ready anytime the moment's right. Day or night. Tell your doctor about your medical condition and all medications, and ask if you're healthy enough for sexual activity.
Don't take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain, as this may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure.
Don't drink alcohol in excess with Cialis. Side effects may include headache, upset stomach, delayed backache, or muscle ache. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease or loss in hearing or vision, stop taking Cialis and call your doctor right away. 36-hour Cialis or Cialis for daily use. Ask your doctor if Cialis is right for you. You can be ready for your moment with Cialis.
From America's News Headquarters, I'm Marianne Rafferty. A developing story out of Washington, Fox News confirms that former Kansas Senator and one-time presidential candidate Bob Dole has been hospitalized. The 86-year-old Dole is undergoing extensive physical therapy at Walter Reed Army Medical Center after knee surgery. He is also preparing for surgery on his other knee. That will be done in Chicago later this month. A hospital spokesman tells Fox News Bob Dole is doing great. Good and bad news today for out-of-work Americans. First, the good news. The Labor Department tells us businesses added 162,000 jobs in March. Some analysts call it the first concrete sign of an economic recovery. The bad news, the unemployment rate remains unchanged at 9.7%. 8 million Americans have lost their jobs since the recession began. President Obama admits that's staggering. I'm Marianne Rafferty. Back to Geraldo at Large.
Over and over, you've heard about the so-called Louisiana Purchase. Did Louisiana Senator Mary Landrieu make a backroom deal for her health care vote? Or is she being hammered unfairly? We report, you decide. I take it you don't use that reference to the provision in the health care reform bill that
Absolutely not.
You don't like that?